Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to show you another little project I've been working on. It's a chassis stand, and never really had much of a desire to build one, but I'm working on that very deep chassis from that Garrett or Garrod radio that you guys recall. So I thought I would spend some time and fabricate this piece, which may come in handy for some of the other small to medium chassis that I work on in the future. Let me get into more detail here about the project. Okay, I simply used some hardware that I had on hand, and others I had to pick up a piece or two here or there, so I do have some mismatch pieces on here, but it does not compromise, I hope, the usability of the stand once we get a chassis in here. So I'm going to show you some of the basics here. I constructed this stand post here, or kind of the mast. It's 1.5 by 1.5 post, and I'm not sure if it's showing up on camera or not, but I've got 2/4 inch holes drilled here. And for my side rail, this is a 1/2 inch thick by 4 inches in width here for this piece. And then I've got some additional support here, again using some corner braces. And again, this is 2.5 inches wide by 1/2 inch thick. This frame itself is made out of 1/2 inch square dowel material, pine. And again, you can see I'm using corner braces on each corner. Here's my mismatch because I had a couple of these and then had to pick up a couple others and didn't find the same size. I think these are 1.5 inch, these are 2 inch. Anyway, they're slotted, as you can see here on the camera, and it leaves room there for about 1/4 inch, and that's just so this can travel if necessary. As well, it produces flexibility if I need to come up with some different mounting hardware other than this. Now again, I've got this frame itself supported here by some 1/4 inch bolts. I think they're about 3.5 inches long, and that is correct. And I'm using some wing nuts, some additional corner braces flattened out here with some additional hardware. These are tightened up. So I've seen other designs where there's a disc with some holes drilled. I consider doing that, but I can actually create enough tension here, I think, on the mounting, where I think I'll be able to keep the chassis itself in any position I want. So you can see that it does, you pull this out just a little bit here, it does rotate around, which definitely affords me some flexibility. So let's take a look at these brackets that I used here, which is, I think, somewhat different than what I've seen online before with other examples. Okay, what I elected to use were these Pony 4-corner framing clamp. It's used to put picture frames together or other odd-shaped devices. They were 24 inches and probably cut 8 to maybe 10 inches off. And I've adjusted this for a max design, and again I can move these around if needed by loosening this connection point here, this connection point here, this connection point, this connection point. And again, you've got these knurl fasteners here, and this adjusts in. And here's some of the examples. We'll see if this shows up on camera. I'll try to run it through. You guys can see it, so we'll throw a chassis in here and just see if this thing actually works in just a bit. But it offers a lot of different flexibility, and you can see here additional information on the back. Hopefully the glare is not making this unreadable. Alright, let me measure this. I'm going to show you the distance here, what my chassis limitations are based on this small stand that I built. Again, the mounting hardware, the secret's really these corner clamps. Again, you can see I've got my gap here in between, which is roughly just a little bit larger than a 1/4 inch. allows this whole frame to move side to side, up and down if needed. And just to give you some idea, here I'm looking at about probably 12 to 13 inches in that direction and about 10 inches in this direction. So most of the small radios that I work on, this should serve me well if I elect to use this. The other advantage, if I'm not here and I'm actually working in a temporary location, I can take this with me where I can't lay the radio down. So it offers some flexibility in that regards as well. So let's get that Garrett or Jared radio upside down, get it mounted here, and I'll demonstrate these clamps. Okay, starting out, I'm going to loosen these inside connection points where this will slide up and down. And I'll do the same here for this piece, where it can slide to the side. And I've already loosened this one, and let's loosen this one here as well. Okay, that gives me some flexibility here on the mounts and sliding. Let me just make a rough measurement here for the chassis and get this thing close, and then we'll make some further adjustments. Okay, I think I've got these close now. Let's see what happens here. Okay, I've got the chassis secured now using the corner pieces here, and these knurl fasteners tightened down here against the corner clamps. And again, I had to readjust this piece slightly, this piece slightly, this piece, and this piece. Now, one flaw I found in my design, because I've never, when I actually put this thing together, I wanted to go to my max length and width. And you can see now my threaded rod length, which I had pre-cut for the maximum length, is about 2 inches past. So when I try to rotate this 360 degrees, of course it's hitting. So what I'll do is modify the design accordingly, and I'll probably just put a longer bolt here and create more separation at this point. Then I'll have to redo these pieces and actually extend them by about 4 inches longer. So I think these are 24 inches. So we'll end up making it about 28 inches. And then when I have these pieces, and I may even make it just a little bit longer, because as I continue to move into the smaller chassis, the length of this bolt will incrementally change by that amount, just the way this works. Now I've got plenty of flexibility here on this point, and this point I've got the chassis shifted more to the lower side of the frame, so I'm good in that regards. Or, you know what, I may elect not even mess with it, and if I'm going to work on the top side or need to get to the top side, I may just loosen this up and flip it around. Who knows? It would be a heck of a lot more convenient though, just to sit here and, you know, rotate it. But you can see the flexibility that creates. And from a working height, from troubleshooting, you know, an issue, this works really well. Let me see if I can get my light here. So that's you know, I'm about, this is head level high. So my face right now is looking right at this, at the perfect angle. So very pleased. Again, I may make a few tweaks, or I might just let this be and put up with it. I'll do some troubleshooting on this radio, do some work, and see if this is problematic with these pieces. Again, if so, I'll extend it, redo these two pieces here, this one in the front, this one in the back. So again, appreciate you watching. Just a real quick glance at new little few hour project I wanted to mess around with this weekend and complete. And again, I need to get this one behind me, and then we'll get started on those zeniths later this winter. Appreciate you watching.